Welcome to the final episode of Series 83, everyone. This month we had Daniel Kwan with us to talk about Wandering Blades, a brand new action-packed wuxia TTRPG that is kickstarting all this month. This episode, we finish our discussion series, including some fantastic fanfic. But before we get to that, we do have some calls to action coming up after the show. Here is what to expect.
Join us here after the show, and we'll have more details about the Wandering Blades Kickstarter, as well as the Galactic and Going Rogue Kickstarter, which goes along with next month's series. A call to action for our Patreon, including how to get a custom C3 branded enamel pin, as well as our patron thank yous.
Yeah, with all of that out of the way, enjoy the show, everyone. On the last episode of Character Creation Cast, we learned a bit more about Daniel's preferences when it comes to character creation in TTRPGs before we began discussing the character creation process for Wandering Blades. We're picking up right where we left off last time. Enjoy.
I want to know, Daniel, how you think that the process of character creation kind of sets up people's expectations for what playing is going to be like. I know in particular, we talked about like the time to violence and that kind of stuff. But like, what do you think that this process tells people about the game and what to expect?
That it's supposed to be collaborative, like 100% that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the moment when Ryan was like, oh, I picked this technique because I know that your character's highest status intellect, this is going to work for us.
Yes.
And I mentioned in that episode that like, oh, you're already thinking in a way that I kind of envisioned for this game. I want you to be working together. That's why, you know, I purposefully asked you to create a connection with another player so that your backstories work together. So that you have these drives and these keepsakes. And then you're thinking about, okay, well, how do we then synergize the mechanical parts of our characters, the techniques we pick, the abilities and all of that.
Which is super interesting now that you like mention that, because I think a lot of games, even when they do have that like connection, are very narratively focused. And you know, then you do pick your stats and you're like, my character would do this, but like, you're not always thinking about how they bounce off of each other or stuff.
And then the way that you actually play the game, like reinforces that.
Yeah, I definitely think
so. Yeah, that's the goal.
I think that
like,
came across,
again, to teach everybody that, you know, the process of playing is supposed to be collaborative, even when we're taking turns.
Right. Well, also, I mean, from creating the character, you understand that the game has that combat focus, that violence focus with all of the techniques and all the other cool stuff that you get. And then your weapons and armor being front and center, but also everything is going to be narrative in terms of the role play and everything based on going through and answering those few simple questions. You get a little block of text for each of these answers, and you know that you're going to be expanding on that.
I mean, even that little check mark by your drive, right? Like, you're like, okay, like narratively, this does matter. I'm not writing a backstory that will never come up again.
Right.
And even the conversation that we had about our reputations, our characters' reputations as well.
And the discussion of like, how would that play out? How would that,
exactly. And it also gives the GM and other players some guidance on how we can actually go, because we can now say, oh, if there are a group of soldiers, like who's got the highest reputation in court, maybe you should go, or maybe like, hey, if you got a low reputation, maybe stand back. And that's reinforced in how the narrative plays out too.
The answer that none of us are invited, actually.
None of us. We're all awful.
Nobody
in their
likes
eyes.
us in court. I cannot wait to get to the fanfic for this group. But before we get to that, one of my favorite questions to ask designers, especially on the show, is what do you think is one of the biggest flaws of character creation in the system? And what is one of your favorite parts?
I like the conversation. My favorite part is the conversation that happens between the players, where they're like thinking of their drive, their keepsake, their connections, but also how they're picking their abilities, because they're already kind of synergized. Like, oh, if I pick this, then you could do this. Like, I love that because there's an excitement that you can hear.
Yeah.
I think one of the flaws or weaknesses is the fact that this game is inherently about Chinese fiction. And so one of the flaws is the challenge of overcoming people's fears.
Oh, okay.
Of interacting with it, right? Interacting with like the name. The name of a character is important, but there is this fear of like doing the racism, like I said. And so I think that's one of the hardest parts of doing any sort of genre, sort of like fiction that is outside of sort of like, you know, our audience is the Western genre.
Right. Yeah, I feel like anything like outside of like classic high fantasy, sort of like Tolkien-esque, you know, like
and also because this is grounded in reality,
right?
It's grounded in reality and real cultures. It's not like, oh, this elven culture. This is like, oh, you're making Chinese people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's like a flaw with the overall genre, but it's also one that I think people should interact with though, because it gives you a new perspective. It helps you learn about like other cultures as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's more of a
but that's
flaw
been the
with
challenge in
broader
designing
society, honestly. But
yes,
I don't think that one's on you, Daniel.
But you know, it's also on me as a designer to create opportunities for people to learn. Right.
And to create that environment that people feel comfortable coming into that. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine a lot of people, especially in the US, might come to this with only even tangentially to the wuxia genre would be something like very American Kill Bill, right?
Yeah.
Which, okay, if you squint, wuxia, right?
Maybe because Tarantino was inspired by like the Kurosawa movies, but also inspired by Westerns and wuxia with the wire work and stuff too. You could like people might have that frame of reference. They might have certain like video games or like movies. But that's okay, right? They have some idea, and the idea is like, okay, how can you learn more?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. It opens up for that. Because like you've been naming a whole bunch of movies that I'm like, I got to check these out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I've listed actually every movie that inspired this game is going to be in the book. So there's even like, you could start a movie club.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, and I appreciate because you said that you did have in the book like genre notes and things like that to kind of help people figure out.
Who need it, right? If you already know, you don't even have to touch that section of the book.
Yeah, it's there if you need it.
Exactly.
All right, Ryan, it's your favorite segment.
Yeah.
We like to discuss, we call this our fan fiction section because we don't ever play our characters that we make on this show. So we like to just have a talk about like, how do we think that this would go? So let's discuss our character stories. I mean, we kind of know that sort of like central thread is my character because I have information that both of you need apparently. Although Ryan, I feel like I would more be seeking out your character because it sounds like you don't necessarily know.
Yeah, my character doesn't know at all.
Oh yeah. But you're looking for your song.
Looking for the song, and I think that song's going to end up being like the key clue for you. Like inadvertently solving my drive will solve your drive.
Yeah. I think
it's interesting because like there's this idea of a lullaby, but like this hidden ancestry. And I think like the characters would find themselves potentially like in some sort of archive or, you know, maybe at a celebration. I would imagine like, oh, maybe we're in disguise. We're at a celebration in like the capital, celebrating the birth of like a new noble. And then you hear the song.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, it's there when we're there performing in our wedding band, obviously.
Yeah. So. Or like maybe we're there to follow like another plot thread. Maybe we're there because like, oh, we heard that there's going to be a big feast.
Yes.
So we want to check out the recipes there.
Right.
Yeah.
And then boom, we hear the song. Right. And that's where like our connections and our drives kind of overlap.
Yeah. Yeah. They've brought in a chef from somewhere that you're like determined to. Yeah.
Exactly. And then now we hear the song. We're like, oh my God, this is like, we know what the song is for. Now we have to see like, okay, is this just a song that anybody knows, or is this only used by the royal family? Oh my God, it's just for
like
the royal
quickly
family.
writing down the lyrics as we're listening to it, hoping to catch everything.
Yeah. Is it coded? Totally. And then now we're like, okay, is this associated with nobility? Is like Singing Edge like a noble? Why would you know this song if only, you know, folks like in the aristocratic class actually hear it?
Yeah.
And then you have this long mystery.
I like the thought of it like being kind of, you know, secretive and like us hearing the song in the back corridors, like from a room.
Yeah.
That's like a little far away, but like to the point where it's like the commoners aren't going to hear it during the celebration.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
I think there's a celebration going on. We've snuck in because we're like, they're all going to be busy with their celebration. We're in the library looking things up and then hear it while we're, you know, trying to do other things.
From like an adjacent room or something like that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like, wait a minute. This is the one.
Or we're trying to escape something and then you hear the song and then it puts us into danger.
Oh no. Yeah, I like
that
I
have to go back. Yeah. I have to know.
We have to go back because now I hear the tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so good.
That's juicy drama there.
Yeah.
I do like that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I do like the whole going undercover in the court, knowing that the court absolutely despises us. Or at the very least, we are unfavorable in their eyes.
Yeah.
And trying to do research that we can only get through the court, and then shenanigans happen.
Well, and then the ultimate question too is like, once we reveal this information, what do we want to do about it? Of like, do you even want to be in charge? Like, we've spent all this time. Like, I found the lost heir, but the lost heir doesn't even want to be. You're like, no, I just want to go.
Or perhaps the discovery of the lost heir triggers the current ruling noble to send assassins.
Right.
Maybe you were a mystery to them. Maybe they didn't even know you existed, and you dug too deep.
Yeah, I do like the thought that they didn't know.
Yeah.
Like I was secreted away because otherwise I would have been killed.
Right.
But now that it's uncovered and then we find proof, maybe the second half of that letter. Yeah.
Or like, I feel like a thing in wuxia would be like, maybe they're actually twins.
Yeah.
Like, think of like how melodramatic it could be. And maybe you actually have a twin. And like the crown prince is actually your twin.
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't even know.
Didn't even know.
And then the document that the detective has actually maybe is talking about the fact that there are twins. And maybe there's like a distinguishing feature that you both have, like a scar or a birthmark or something.
Oh,
and the document reveals that.
A similar birthmark would be really nice. Like just something that is innocuous on one person, but to know that two people have the same birthmark.
Yeah. And then there's your big twist. And then it could end, like the story could end with you joining the court and kind of your character sort of exiting the narrative.
Yeah.
And maybe becoming a villain. Or it could end with, you know, your character maybe like replacing your twin.
Ooh.
Right. And that's why I designed Wandering Blades to be like very episodic. Like it could be a 1-shot, it could be a 5-shot, because these characters could sort of exit the story and become part of your world. And then you could make a new character.
Yeah.
And then like keep going. And then you have this sort of additional backstory now.
Stuff in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think there's so much that we can do with this little group of people.
I know.
Yeah. And plus character death is very much like a thing that can happen. So
it does
who
seem
knows
possible.
if we might have lost a character, right? Like we could have lost a character and then now we have to make characters fast and introduce them back into the story.
Oh, yeah.
Now you have to uncover the plot on your own, because I am definitely going to be the first to die.
Or what if Singing Edge dies after we discover this, and now we're like, oh my God, like what do we do with the truth?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, does it even matter anymore?
Yeah, does it matter? Or would the crown prince or princess need to know?
Right.
Or do we just like, or are we all like tragically actually killed?
Yeah.
Like maybe we decide the best thing to do is actually tell, you know, the twin that, you know, they exist. We walk in and there's this moment, but then maybe we agree that like we've established that like their parents are like really, really evil, and then we get surrounded, and then our characters are executed. And that could be the end, right?
Could be, yeah.
But we work on that together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Or like, do you join the court, but in like a role that lets you be close to them without telling them the truth?
I mean, I think I like the thought of Singing Edge uncovering this twin that they look in the right clothes identical, right? And I like the thought of hearing them out and what they're about, what their vision of the future of the nation is, right? And if it doesn't align with Singing Edge's morals, I think she would try to take over and masquerade as her twin brother.
And would Feng Yao and Fui even agree with this?
Right. Yeah, like I've spent all of this time trying to uncover the truth, and you're going to lie anyway.
You've discovered the truth, and now you're like, oh my God.
Right.
Is
and
it
then
a
the question is like, am I now a liability because I know the truth?
Exactly. And so maybe Singing Edge exits the story, Ryan makes a new character, and then we're on the run.
Maybe.
Ryan is struggling with the concept of being the bad guy.
Yeah. Right?
Ryan's like, maybe, but probably
like,
I wouldn't pick that option.
You have these like soap opera plot twists.
Yeah, no, I do like that drama. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very good.
There's so many ways it could go, and all of them are
I'm invested.
Bad, but so good.
I know.
Nice. I know. And because we're invested, that's where we end our fan fiction. Just a taste. Just a taste.
Leave the audience wanting more.
Exactly.
That they'll never get.
I know.
Maybe if we get to like $1,000 a month on our Patreon, we will stop leaving people hanging.
Yeah. We'll start an AP portion of our show.
Yep.
There you go. I'd be down for that. All right. Well, let's get into our advancement discussion and take it up a level.
Take it up a level. Take it up a level.
So we want to talk about character advancement and then also like narrative growth. So let's start with the mechanical portion. How do you advance and what happens mechanically when you do that?
So Wandering Blades, because combat is dangerous, I did not want to make combat the only way that you could level up. So at the end of every session, there's like a conversation that's had at the table. And the player characters are asked 5 questions. You get 1 XP every time you say yes. First question is, did you participate in the session? Did your character accomplish a noteworthy deed that would impact their standing with one of the factions? Did your character take meaningful action related to their drive? Did your character experience a tough setback or obstacle? And did your character have an impactful scene with their connection? And so none of these are about fighting.
Yeah.
They're all about role play. Because again, I don't want to gatekeep leveling up behind one type of play style.
Right.
Right. A noteworthy deed could mean many things.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you get 5 experience, you can increase your level by 1, and you get all of your new class features. You also get more HP. And then you're encouraged to, when you level up, shift your character's connection or modify their drive. Leveling up is also the only way that you can increase your attributes. You get to increase an attribute by 1 when you level up.
I'm going to need that.
But again, leveling up, you might not level up every session if you don't experience these things.
Right.
Yeah.
So it encourages players to have that drama.
Yeah. Kind of seek it out. It's a good incentive.
And you know what? Like some people may choose to use that XP to level up. Some people may choose to use that XP to learn new martial arts techniques through manuals that they find, like these secret treasures, these hidden techniques.
Yeah.
And so you might have players who are level 2, and you might have one player who's level 1, but they have a really, really powerful technique.
Yeah.
But with limited use. So the next time they level up, they'll want to level up and increase their focus to have more chi.
Right.
That's cool, though.
I like that.
I like that you have
so
those
it's like
options.
a balance.
Yeah.
But again, it only works because everybody is already dangerous at level 1.
Right.
Yes.
So it's not like a level 2 character is going to be that much better than a level 1 character.
Right. Right. Yeah, which I think
Just have a
makes
little bit more
difference, too.
survivability, right?
Yeah.
Just a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That it's, I appreciate the fact that it's not like, okay, I have to like, it's like, if I get to level 3 and I don't take this thing, I'm out of luck. So it's like, I have to do it now, even though I don't really want to do it. But like, it'll be a setback later if I don't. And, I don't like when it's like, you have to do this at this level or you're hurting your character somehow.
Yeah, you kind of progress at your own rate. Yeah. Again, that aligns with the theme of individuality.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. And that it's a very character driven kind of story.
Yeah. So yeah, it's nice and simple. That's how you advance in the game.
I love that. Like,
yeah. And I love how it is very narrative based. Right.
Yeah. That it's based on what happened in that session, that it's not, here's 500 XP. Good. See you later.
Yeah. And it drives the role play into the right directions.
Right. Well, because I think like if you have to like take that technique or whatever and you have to spend, your 3 days or whatever learning that kind of stuff, like that's an interesting like role playing narrative situation too, to be like where did you get this information? How did you find it? What did practicing it involve? All that kind of stuff too.
Absolutely. Oh, so good.
Thank you.
I like it. I like this. Very wonderful.
It's so deceptively simple for how much comes out of it. Like, I feel like you've really, really managed to streamline things in a way that is, there's still enough there that you can do what you want, but like it doesn't feel overwhelming or over designed or like
right.
Yeah. It's a hard it's hard balance to strike. Like it really, really is. And so I feel like this did that. I'm so excited to see all of the fun things that come out of this.
Me too.
I appreciate it. I think this is the best thing I've designed. And I'm really excited like afterwards to just like take Wandering Blades as a base and then try to design off of that system.
Yeah.
I have been having thoughts about how to turn this into a magical girl game, to be honest.
Oh, it would 100% work because again,
I know.
you could have a single class. You just use the Yosha as your base, and each person has like a single technique.
See?
Like that's your move.
Yeah.
Not everything needs magical girls.
But it would because needs magical girls. It's a heavy want from many people.
But like I know a lot of anime fans talk about how like Sailor Moon could beat a ton of other shonen characters because Sailor Moon is like legit powerful. So like, and they all have named techniques. So like, of course, you could hack this into a Sailor Moon RPG, and then like instead of your different sects, it's like this is Jupiter, this is like Venus, and then these are your different techniques.
Yeah.
And
if you ever decide you want to do an official one, Ryan is waiting to help.
I have no expertise in that, but I would fully support and signal boost this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
my goal afterwards is to do a cyberpunk cyber ninja game with this.
Yeah.
Like Ninja Gaiden.
Please.
That's my goal.
That would be amazing.
Maybe I could just write a book of secret cults. I'll write a supplement.
There you go.
It's just here's some cults and what they're up to. My contribution.
Absolutely. The Amelia's Book of Cults.
Yeah.
I feel like there's certainly a market for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can actually write a system agnostic book of cults. Should do that.
There you go.
In my spare
I think
time.
that would be a hit.
Spare time.
Or it could be a deck of cults. It could literally be like a maybe a tarot deck or something, and then each one inspired by it has like its own unique cult.
Oh, there you go.
Love it.
Get on that.
Okay.
That's a like $5,000 idea.
Right.
It's not $1 million idea.
Yeah.
$5,000 idea.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
You gotta start somewhere.
Look, my kid's got to go to college. I need to start.
Exactly.
Yeah. There we go. Funded by cults.
Yep.
Funded by cults.
Yeah.
Living the dream. Funded by cults.
There you go, kids. Your education paid for by cults.
Well, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us to talk about Wandering Blades. This is such a good game.
Oh, thank you so much. No, thanks for having me. Honestly, it means a lot. that you folks have such praise for it.
Yeah, this was.
Yeah,
and we haven't
absolutely.
even we haven't even fought. There's no combat or
I know.
anything.
You're like, you haven't
we
even
fought in your
actually
mind.
played the game, and you're so excited.
Yeah. No, but I love that. I love that, character creation, brought you this much like entertainment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had a fantastic time.
Yeah. Can you remind everyone where they can find you online? We're also at the tail end of the Kickstarter. Anything you want to point out there, and any other things that you might be working on at this point?
First of all, I hope this is a success and that we're funded.
Mhm.
That's I mean,
Aspirational,
that's
Daniel.
table stakes.
Thank you for helping us
Yes.
fully fund this Kickstarter.
Yes, exactly. No, you could find the Wandering Blades Kickstarter campaign at wanderingblades.com. You can find me on social media, probably for all of the month of May, only talking about Wandering Blades, at Daniel H. Kwan. That's Daniel H. KWAN. I'm most active on Blue Sky. I have the another podcast on the One Shot Network, 2 actually. Asians Represent. We talk about Asian representation in games media. And then I have another podcast called John Who, and it's the podcast for fans of doves, hyperviolent gunfights, and heartfelt romances, where we break down the films of legendary director John Woo. But yeah, thanks for having me on the show. Like it's been a cool sort of like reunion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. We'll have to
was
do it again
fantastic seeing you.
more often than every 5 to 6 years. So
Yeah, then maybe we can collaborate and you can come on, not Asians Represent, but John Who.
Ooh,
there you go.
That would be fun. I
That
would
would be
honestly, I would love that. That sounds great.
Okay, we'll set something up. We'll set something up then. More collaboration.
Yes.
Boom, done.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. We are looking for guests for upcoming seasons. We're planning out 3 seasons right now, and season 3 we're figuring out guests.
Ooh, yeah. Let us know.
We'll talk.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you again for sitting down with us, and thank you to everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next week.
Call to action.
Yeah, like that. So, as usual, we got into our fanfic, which, has become a favorite part of the show. I don't even remember if we did it at the beginning. I think we kind of a little bit did, but
honestly,
not certainly
wasn't
to the
as
level,
structured, right?
Yeah, that we do now, where we're like, I don't know. It's like that little bit of closure that you and I need to be able to continue making this show. I think it's really more for us than for our listeners.
Yeah.
We're like, we can't let it go. You have to pretend something happens. Can't walk away like this.
The psychic damage we would take every single month recording the series without any of that fanfic would have been astronomical.
It would have been rough. We definitely would not still be here all these years later if it had happened that way. So yeah, I mean, in classic fashion, I think this was, a really clean story, super easy to follow. I think everybody understands what's going on. Secret twins, backstabbing, murder, half a letter, secret lullaby. I mean, I don't understand how you couldn't follow along with it.
Which is par for the course for wuxia. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think it's, pretty simple. Pretty simple story. Could be wrapped up easily in, a 20-minute episode for sure.
Right. Of course. Yeah. No, I'm very interested in how well this game does mimic that wuxia genre. Yeah. And our fanfic leaned heavily into those sorts of tropes, which is and I've seen some wuxia in the past, but I'm nowhere near a connoisseur of the genre.
Right.
And it felt very natural to put these sorts of storylines because that's what the game facilitates and kind of pushes you towards.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we got to have a really good discussion about in this series is that intentionality of what genre am I trying to play around in. We got to really dig deep into some of that this time. So I hope everyone really enjoyed it because it was a lot of fun to make characters, and I really enjoyed our discussion this time.
Absolutely. And as always, phenomenal to have Daniel on talking about a game that is, fully under his purview instead of, collaborating with others. So it was really cool to see how his mind worked in designing it and everything. So it's an all around really fun game, fun series. And I am thrilled with how it all turned out.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really glad to see that the Kickstarter did well, is doing well. There's a couple more days left. So like I'm really excited to see that the Kickstarter met its goal, has gone through, I think, two of the stretch goals. The third one is for the $30,000 mark, and they're currently at 28 as we record this on Sunday before it releases. So if you haven't backed it yet and you really did like this series, or you're waiting to hear how everything wrapped up, it ends May 30th, which is 4 days away from the day this comes out. So you can get in there and back it. There's 2 more stretch goals. One of them is for expanded sandbox adventure in the book. And then there's another one to unlock Daniel's design notes, which would also be really cool. So I kind of hope they get there. But
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you can go over to wanderingblades.com and it will take you right where you need to go. Otherwise, we'll have a link in our show notes too.
Absolutely. And speaking of Kickstarter, there's another Kickstarter that is on our radar because we are covering the games in that Kickstarter for next month's series. And I did say games because there are 2 of them. It's Galactic and Going Rogue that are kickstarting together, going from a week or 2 ago all the way through June. So it's a kind of an extended time period for a Kickstarter, but it's for 2 games and there's a lot of amazing stretch goals. And they are kickstarting as a single book together because the synergy between them is fantastic.
Yes.
Both games use the belonging outside belonging system of diceless and GM-less play. Galactic is more geared towards those like Star Wars movie sort of epic space fantasy style stories. And then Going Rogue is for the like quick one-shot, multi-shot like games that end in guaranteed tragedy for your characters while they succeed at their mission.
Yeah, they're meant to mimic Rogue One specifically.
Yeah.
Like that hero's journey, but also like going out with a bang.
Exactly. Sometimes quite literally. Absolutely. And they work so well together. We just finished recording the final bits of next month's series.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't want to give it away, but also like I want people to know that like they really do go together. Like you could play them at the same time if you wanted. You'll see.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you are clamoring to hear all about that, the people in our Patreon at the $5 and up level have already heard the first bits of the series, the character creation portions, and the discussion portions are coming very soon. And it's such a good pair of systems, and pairing them together works, from what we're seeing,
beautifully,
even better.
Chef's kiss.
So absolutely check that out, and check out next month's series as it releases, because it's right around the corner. Of course, by the time this episode releases, our $5 and up patrons are already most of the way through the next month's series. So if you want to be part of that, you can join up.
Speaking of our Patreon, we would love it if you checked out the C3 Patreon at patreon.com/charactercreationcast. If you are able to help us out, it would allow us to do more for our community and for the show itself. Once Ryan and I have a bit more free time, sometime in July or August, when I'm done doing Annie's stuff, the end is nigh, we'll be able to devote our energies back into the show and make some more stuff for the Patreon, make it even more worthwhile with some bonus episodes, getting back to our chit chats, all that kind of stuff. In the meantime, I'm definitely working on stickers. I just sent Ryan a new design that I'm very excited about. It's going to be amazing. But we would definitely like your help. If we get to $160 a month, we'll be able to hire someone to do monthly webpage updates at charactercreationcast.com. Right now, like, we want to be able to list the guests that we've had, a link to the games we've covered, all that kind of stuff. But of course, we have like 7 years worth of episodes. So we would love to hire someone to help us out if we can get just a little more money.
Yeah, exactly. From what we're kind of estimating, it'll be about 1 to 2 hours a month for all the new series that come out. So that extra, $20, $30 that we would be getting at the $160 level would go towards that, specifically towards any new series that come out, to have them go ahead and update that. And that will just be a great resource for all of our listeners, and for anybody looking for these games in particular, can easily Google search them and come across our site and get all the resources they need to kind of dive into playing these games, which would be fantastic. But for all the older games, we're going to need a little bit more for that. And the $200 level, if we hit that, I think we'll be able to afford an extra couple of hours out of this person to go back and kind of fill in the backlog catalog of all the games that we've covered over the last 7 years. Oof. Or so, which might take a while, but we will probably see how it goes. And if we figure out a good process, maybe we can even join in ourselves after we are no longer super busy, which would be nice.
Can I mark it on my calendar? Exactly. When will I no longer be super busy? In February.
2000XX, somewhere in there. But also, more importantly, if we hit that $200 level, we'll be able to offer yearly discounts. So if some of our patrons want to sign up for a year, they can do so at a discount. So that'll be nice to have. And if we hit $160 a month, hitting that first goal there, we're going to get an enamel pin for our campaign level backers. So anybody at the $10 and up level will get an exclusive enamel pin that we will get created just for you.
Mm-hmm. Right now, if we get 7 more campaign level patrons, we'll make it past that $200 barrier. And that'll be 7 more folks that can get some really great stuff, like stickers every month, a set of 3d6 C3 branded Chessex dice. They're very nice. A personalized thank you note from the both of us, handcrafted by myself. I even got a special fancy new thank you stamp last time I was at the store. I found one on clearance. It's beautiful. Nice. So all of that would really help us toward the long-term goal of getting things up and running. So if you can help us out, even just 4 more campaign level patrons gets us to that $160 goal. We have tiers at the $5 and $1 level that get you various perks. And so you can head over to patreon.com/charactercreationcast and get all of that info.
Absolutely. In addition to all of that, we do like to thank our current patrons every episode. Your support truly helps out a great deal. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
Thank you, Lieutenant DJG and Eric Bonts. Your support makes us so happy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Daryl Holiday II, Shadim Cabal, and the Shyest Barbarian. So glad to have you backing us.
Benjamin Sweeney, Rob Fletcher, and Kevin Brown. We are also grateful to you. Thank you.
Tentacle Duck, John Adamus, and A3 Sketchpad. We're happy to have you here with us. Thank you.
Cole McCallum, Carlos Salazar, and Eric S. Thank you.
Ian Potmeyer, Liam G., and Brian Colm. You're the best. Thank you.
Garden GM, Tanglefoot, Blue Kryptonite. Thank you so much for believing in us and backing us.
Thank you, Danny, Nicole Trainer, and Liam Murray. We couldn't do this without you.
Kenning, Brian Kurtz, Mark E. Fair. Thank you for your continued support.
Drew Owen, Oz, and James McGinley, thank you all so much.
And thank you to Sean Metcalf, Robert, and our new patron, Kevin Bates. We couldn't do any of this without you.
And thank you to all of our future patrons. If you want to join this phenomenal group of individuals, please head on over to patreon.com/charactercreationcast and help us out. The wonderful news is that with our latest patron, thank you, Kevin, we just got past the point where we are covering all of our operating expenses every month, which is fantastic. And with even more assistance, we'll be able to make those website upgrades to make exploring your favorite games that much easier. And finally, if you want to join the discussion with us, our hosts, some of our guests, and a bunch of fans, you can head on over to Discord at discord.charactercreationcast.com.
That is all we have for today's episode. You can join us here next week when we begin character creation for Galactic and Going Rogue. Until then, take care, everyone. Stay safe, drink some water, and keep making those amazing people. We will see you next time.
Character Creation Cast is a production of the One Shot Podcast Network and can be found online at www.charactercreationcast.com. Head to the website to get more information on our hosts, this show, and even our press kit. Character Creation Cast can also be found on Twitter and Blue Sky at CreationCast, or on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Bolter, and I can be found on Twitter and Blue Sky at Lord Neptune or online at lordneptune.com. Our other host, Amelia Antrim, can be found on Twitter and Blue Sky at Ginger Reckoning. Music for this episode is used with a Creative Commons license or with permission from the podcast they originated from. Further information can be found within the show notes. Our main theme music is Hero Remix by Steve Combs and is used with a Creative Commons license. This podcast is owned by us under Creative Commons. This episode was edited by Ryan Bolter. Further information for the game systems used and today's guests can also be found in the show notes. If you'd like to support our show, find us on Patreon. Get access to bonus episodes, exclusive merch, and much more at patreon.com/charactercreationcast. Thanks for joining us. And remember, we find that the best part of any role-playing game is character creation. So go out there and create some amazing people. We'll see you next time.